Okay, let's move on and take a look at your objectives.
Okay.
So I can see there for myself the first one, you've suggested 75% for your GCSE group.
Yeah, the data is 70%.
Okay.
That was about 19 kids, and there's about, I feel comfortable, putting that up to about 75%. At 75%, it's 21 out of the 28 kids achieving, C or above.
Right. Okay. On what basis have you thought there was just this extra couple of kids?
Looking at, from my own assessments and looking at the quality, for example, of the coursework so far and grading the work that they've done, kind of putting a kind of an overall grade on. There are about, there are 21 students there that are achieving that C grade.
So it sounds like there's 21 who you're confident based on
the
things you've just talked about.
Yeah.
Who else is in that group? So out of the other 7, how many do you think, with the right kind of teaching environment and with a bit of stretch, you could get them to C or above?
I mean, there are a couple currently underperforming. There's a few issues with, general kind of ability I'm a bit concerned about, and behaviour is a little bit of an issue as well. Getting them, their effort on their part. There are possibly to full kind of potential. There's about 25 kids in there that I think.
Which is taking us more up to kind of about the 85% mark.
About 80, 85, yeah.
Okay, which is kind of where I'd like us to try and get to. So let's just talk about what's in the art of the possible there.
Yeah.
So if I was to push you for more like 85%, what interventions would you need to make with the kids who are touch and go?
Well, I'm thinking about one boy in particular who's struggling. The ability is not quite, well, I worry that the ability is not quite there to achieve a C. At the moment, I am in touch with his parents. The idea kind of there is to give them the work. They've been in, they've seen the quality. I've shown them examples of coursework.
Yeah.
I've sent them home with examples as well, so that they can kind of compare that to what he's doing.
Okay.
And make, he gets that one-to-one support and at home.
Yeah.
Where they can make sure that he's not handing me, homework in that just isn't up to scratch really.
Right. Okay. So you've got some kind of agreements in place with the parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Head of department is aware.
Okay.
And she's got a bit of allocated time.
Flexibility in the time.
Yeah. So she can either come into the lesson and support that student or support the class while I.
Is that a conversation you've had with her already, or is that something you need to have?
No, it's been had, yeah.
Okay, and she's open to that?
That's kind of,
That's in the bag?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the second thing.
And I think the third thing really, I know it might not sound like much, but just providing that extra detailed feedback and the quality,
Not just for him, but for the other kids who are kind of touch and go as well?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same kind of principles, not necessarily all 3, but the feedback is one of the main things where where the students are kind of not quite meeting their targets or underperforming.
So I know this is a bit of a stretch, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
With keeping those 3 things going, do you believe it's
possible,
realistic with some stretch that you could get up to that 85% mark with this group? Because that's kind of what I'm looking for.
The idea, it's possible. It scares me. I do worry that I'm making a rod for my own back by putting that down as a target, but it's possible.
Okay. Is there anything else that so beyond the 3 things you've just mentioned, is there anything else that you've not thought about yet that you could do that will increase your chances of hitting this stretch target?
If I had more time, I think, which is one of the problems, but with that time, there are certain areas where these students are falling short. For example, it might just be something as simple as drawing skills, and so they're not able to communicate their ideas well enough. Okay. So if I was able to focus just on that particular area, very focused area, then that would kind of build up their skill, and they'd be able to produce better quality work.
Okay.
It's just a case of how do I fit that in? You know, how do I add more, give them more, without kind of putting too much work on them?
So what are your thoughts about how you do that?
I don't know at the moment.
Okay.
Somehow merge it in with the coursework, with what they're already working on.
Well, we don't need to box it off now because this conversation is more about gaining some agreement on those stretch targets.
Okay.
So it sounds like in principle we've got an agreement to go for the 85%.
Yeah. Okay.
On this last point, on this last point that we've just hit on there, go away and have a think about how you can make that happen without creating that trade-off, and then we can pick that up next time we talk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There's one other thing that I think might help with this, and it's more to do with those kids who you're more confident that they're going to hit the target, and it's just make sure that you don't allow those to drift because you're focusing more on the kids who might be a bit touch and go.
Right.
And so with those, just in terms of the style of your feedback, I just want you to really focus on positively framed feedback and positively framed questions. And what I mean by that is when you think there is scope for them to achieve even better, prioritise letting them know what you think is great about the work that they've produced so far,
Yeah.
and then just ask really well-framed questions like, such as, what would make that even more suitable? What would make that even better than it is already?
Yeah.
Just be careful about the kind of questions you ask, because I think that will maintain their motivation and desire to push themselves on.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Great. Okay, so that's perfect. So the other one that I noticed you've got there is more of a developmental objective.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Well, at the minute we've changed from graphic products. So we're still teaching we've got the 5th years going through, but that's the last year of graphic products now. We've got 3rd and 4th year group doing product design.
Okay.
So it's new to us. It's new to the department, and we've never taught it before here.
Okay.
One of the requirements is to be able to show in the folders and be able to teach SolidWorks. It's a computer-aided design software.
Okay.
The idea, so I would go on a course.
Okay.
I'd go on a course and pick up those skills.
So we need to pay for you to go on this course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's not a yes. Okay, that's an okay. I understand so far.
Okay. So yeah, go on the course. We can't not do that. It's part of the criteria.
Okay.
It's part of the new course that they need to be able to show these skills.
So if they don't use these skills as part of their coursework, that's going to impact on their pass rates.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it for graphic products, but we didn't need to show as much detail, so we were using things like SketchUp, which was fine. Can't do as much in this, but SolidWorks is a lot more. It's a lot more detailed.
Okay, so the way in which the objective is written at the moment is just to go on the course so that you can teach it at GCSE and A level.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make it a bit tighter than that. And I just want to be sure that before we go spending money, it sounds reasonable, but before we make that decision, I think I just want to make sure that the whole school is getting value from that.
Okay.
Rather than just yourself. So when do you think you would need to have completed this course by?
Well, I mean ASAP really. As soon as the kids need to be able to pick up these skills, really in the next couple of months.
Okay.
The options are, so we can all go on it, all the staff. I know that's quite expensive, but I'm not sure.
Well, it's expensive in terms of the course, and it's expensive in terms of you getting covering for people being away from the classroom. Okay, so that was one option.
The other option is to send me on the course, and then I can come back and provide sessions for the rest of the DT staff.
Right, okay. How suitably will that cover the content of the course for you to bring it back? Is that realistic for you to be able to share it with them?
I mean, it should be. I think it would rely on me, a bit of extra time on my part to kind of get to grips with the software. So take the course, do the tutorial, hopefully I'm sure they'll have tutorials that I can practice, and then either on, or in set days or lunch times, provide the training for the rest of the staff.
So in principle, I'm with you on this one. I just need to go away and check from a budget point of view that it's a goer, but in principle, what I'd like is for you to, I just think that needs to be a bit tighter.
Okay.
So I'd like you to read something, you go away and word it, but something along the lines of to have completed the solid work training
Course.
by, let's think about by the end of October,
Okay. Yeah.
and have the rest of the department trained up to use that same software by the year end.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. What's the relationship between, in your mind, what's the relationship between the department being able to use SolidWorks and the likelihood of us of reaching our GCSE targets?
Sorry, say that
Yeah,
again.
yeah. What's the link? So how does what we've just agreed for you to do with SolidWorks, how does that link to our ability to achieve our GCSE results?
It's directly linked. We can't not teach those skills. We can't not teach the software.
Okay.
Plus, we've already paid for the software to be installed, and that's a new thing. So it's just following up on kind of past.
So we've got the kit, we just need to be able to use it well.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my mind, what that potentially does also is mitigate some of your concern about the target that you've just entered into, given that we're balancing that out with the SolidWorks stuff, which was going to be a gap in the coverage of the coursework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great
Yeah.
stuff. Let's move
Okay.
on to the next one.
Great. Is that all right?
Yeah, great. Oh, you are kidding me.
Is it not recorded?